Even before I started this channel, I used to watch YouTube a lot. For me, it's all about educational channels, with the odd vlogger mixed in. I think that the channel I watch the most loyally is Philip DeFranco, who I think I've been following for probably around 10 years now. The vlogger Casey Neistat is back on the scene, and he's one of my favorites when it comes to being able to tell stories in a fun and interesting manner. But all those guys, like all YouTubers, had to start somewhere. And in this video, I wanted to connect with fellow YouTubers to 1. Build some community and make some connections, and 2. Feature other voices and other opinions about Lithuania. So today we will hear from a few other creators who have been to Lithuania to find out about their impressions, experiences, and perhaps get some advice for fellow travelers. While I reached out to 8 small channels with a big diversity of backgrounds, only 4 people responded with interest. Of these 4, one was scared away after hearing that I would be including some video footage of her Lithuania vlog, and so I was left with these 3 fantastic faces. So meet Jordan Patrick, Ollie of Wendall Explores, and Adam of Sir Adam Travel and Transport. First off, with nearly 9,000 subscribers at the time of making this video, Jordan was the largest creator I contacted. Since he had a fairly busy schedule which didn't quite line up too well with mine, Jordan opted to record his answers to my questions and send them in himself. So here's what he had to say.
So actually I went to Lithuania pretty randomly because I was selected to be on this reality show Killer Camp Season 2, and it was filmed in Vilnius. Now I was really excited to go because I had already been to the other 2 Baltic states, Latvia and Estonia, and when I found out that the filming of this reality show was going to be in Lithuania, I thought, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I get to cross that off my bucket list, and I'm so glad to have had the experience. So I really appreciated the people of Lithuania because everyone was so friendly and nice, and they were very proud of their culture and their country, so they really wanted to give a good impression. It was funny because after wrapping up the show, we had kind of a few days left in Vilnius, so we actually went out to a bar. We met some locals that were super cool and friendly, and we actually organized like this little hotel party. They brought some friends, and we all had a great time, and that was thanks to the Lithuanians that were so warm and inviting and friendly. So when it comes to sightseeing, I highly recommend going to Old Town because it's rich in history as it's the oldest part of town, but you also have restaurants and bars kind of all throughout that are really cool. If you go and take a cafe, you sit on the terrace and you people watch, I must say, like in Vilnius, people are so stylish. Like I could go and sit there for hours and just watch people walk by.
I love that Jordan also recognizes how awesome the thrift stores are in Lithuania, because here's what he had to say on the topic.
Thrift shopping was very affordable, and they always had new clothes coming in all the time. So as I was there for a few weeks, I went multiple times to these different thrift shops, and I actually got this jacket at a thrift shop there for only 10 euros. Now I've been thrift shopping in Paris because that's normally where I get my clothes, but it's so much more expensive. So a little fun fact is that my flight from Paris to Vilnius was only 15 euros round trip with Ryanair. And so I could actually go to Vilnius, buy some clothes, come back to Paris for cheaper than buying a jacket like this in Paris at a thrift shop. That is insane.
And if you're traveling with a smartphone, here's one app that will come in useful across most of Lithuania.
My biggest recommendation for people that are visiting Vilnius is to download the app Bolt, because with friends we always would rent these scooters or bikes, or it's their version of Uber. So I highly recommend to download this because you can get around the city very easily and cheaply.
Next up is Adam of Sir Adam Travel and Transport. While the videos on his channel are quite diverse, I think you might be interested in his videos of Lithuania. Perhaps his visit to the Ignalina nuclear power plant simulator, or his own experience of flying over Vilnius in a hot air balloon. Here are some of Adam's thoughts and reflections from his time visiting Lithuania.
Well, I found Vilnius to be really clean. The people were really friendly, even though I know very little Lithuanian. I know a little bit of Russian, so that kind of helped when I visited Visaginas. But most people can speak English, I found, and are very friendly. Firstly, don't worry too much about carrying euros. I found Vilnius to be very good at accepting contactless payment and sort of debit and credit card, which when I visited Germany in the past, cash has been favoured. Well, I was quite surprised with Vilnius because I thought they'd prefer cash, but everywhere I went, I could tap with my card. I would probably say check with your bank before you go just to make sure you're not going to get charged any sort of foreign fees. Public transport, of course, that's a big thing I'm interested in. It's a great city to get around. The buses, trolley buses are frequent. And traffic app, that's a really good app for where you can buy your tickets, but you can track live tracking, which I found really useful. So you can actually see the buses or the trolley buses moving along on the app.
Something that both Jordan and Adam recommended was to go up a little higher to get a better view of Vilnius.
On top of this hill that you can see from Old Town, you have Gediminas Castle Tower, and that is really nice. That was my favorite sightseeing spot because you hike up this hill, it's maybe 20 minutes. It's not too rough or tough to get up there, but once you do, you have this beautiful view above all of Old Town Vilnius. And so yeah, that is definitely a must-see.
When you're visiting a city or anywhere, you're on foot and you mostly sort of got that eye level sort of perspective, but in Vilnius, there's a few locations where if you get to higher ground, you can get a different perspective of the city, such as the Hill of Three Crosses, Gediminas Tower. If you get to the higher ground, you can get a different perspective of the city. Feeling quite brave, you could always take a hot air balloon ride, which takes you over the city and out to the countryside.
And finally, I had the chance to chat with Ollie, who's based in Cornwall, and from the channel Wendall Explores. While Ollie mainly captures his experience of Cornwall, he had the chance to visit Vilnius on his way through to Riga. Here are some of his impressions of Lithuania from the short time he was in the country.
Honestly, didn't know what to expect. I'd heard of the name of the country, but I did not know where on the map Lithuania was. I presumed it was somewhere in that sort of area. So the whole trip to Lithuania was very off the cuff. It was very like last minute decision to go and meet another YouTuber in Latvia. And what was my general impression? A warm, small country. People were quite happy to see me. People were quite interested to meet me. I even had a Lithuanian subscriber who watched my videos from Cornwall, who came to meet me. I would say that expect a really welcoming country. I found the people to be quite kind and friendly. I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. What to expect for sure is an incredibly beautiful city. It really blew me away. I think a lot of people from the UK, they tend to go to like Krakow for that type of experience. And 100% I would recommend going to Vilnius instead of Krakow. It's quite enchanting, really, yeah. Quite an enchanting place. Beautiful, yeah. But I had a good time in Vilnius on my own. I didn't have any trouble walking around. I felt safe. I even walked way out of the old town into where I would say normal Lithuanians live, across several bridges. I don't mind saying this on record. I preferred Lithuania to Latvia.
I think one of the more unique and unexpected pieces of advice coming from this little project came from Ollie, and it has to do with having a sensitivity around the country's Soviet history.
For one thing that I kind of got myself into a little bit of controversy with the one video that I made, I was quite interested in all the Soviet history and buildings. I noted that some buildings were Soviet in my videos, not really knowing the full story of Lithuania. And there was quite a lot of backlash from Lithuanians who really didn't want to be associated with the Soviet era in any way, even though those buildings are still there. Lots aren't, but some are, and they're very obvious examples of that really brutal Soviet architecture. And that led me deeper into reading more about why Lithuanians are so reluctant to be associated with this. And it was quite an educating experience, yeah.
And like Ollie, Adam was interested in the brutalist Soviet architecture as well.
Vilnius, yeah. Going up there and just walking in the neighbourhoods of all the different sort of residential tower blocks. Obviously they filmed the Chernobyl TV series there, which I think's created another element of interest for other people. But if you're just walking and getting a feel for the place, you kind of not feeling like a local, but it's just a completely different vibe to the city centre. And the buildings are just, yeah, they're all very different. And the designs are quite something, I think.
So on this topic, while the Soviet architecture might be quite interesting for people who haven't lived through this chapter of recent Lithuanian history, I would say it's important to remember that it was a rather dark chapter for many Lithuanians, and that you should be sensitive and aware that it was an unhappy time for many people. But to wrap things up, I asked my 3 guest YouTubers to introduce their channels in case you're interested in seeing more of their work.
I'm probably mostly known for making content exploring the area I live, which is Cornwall in the UK. A lot of like hikes and cliff climbs and meeting the locals and asking them about the topics that affect this area. But there's also a lot of travel content on my channel, and the channel started originally to be a kind of sort of like alternative travel vlogging platform.
My name is Jordan Patrick, and I also have a channel myself. The name is Jordan Patrick, and I'm French American living in Paris, and I grew up in California. So I actually make videos on culture, travel, lifestyle, language, and the French nationality. So I made a video in Vilnius when I was there, where I went around to all the different touristic spots that you can see in Vilnius. So if you want to check out that video specifically, or any of my other videos on my channel, I make videos in both French and English, so feel free to check those out. The link will be in the description of this video.
My YouTube channel, Sir Adam, focuses on travel and transport. So that could be me experiencing different modes of transport, transport-related events, and also making videos about areas I'm visiting, whether that's in my local area or abroad on holiday.
If you live in Lithuania or have visited it before, what advice would you offer to future tourists? Leave them down in the comments section for others to check out. My thanks again to Jordan, Adam, and Ollie for their time and their contributions to this video. I do hope you'll have some time to check out their own channels and the great content that they're putting out. And a big thank you to everyone else for watching. I'll see you next time.